welcome Nick and Derek to the stream. We've seen your builds. I'm in particular like super happy that you guys are joining us here. I saw RhoadsPC via his Plague Doctor build the other day, and then also the Bullion build from Nick from ExtremePCUK.
Very clean looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So should we throw the videos up on stream before we go ahead and dive in and talk about it? All right, let's do that. So let's start off with the TikTok that Derek dropped maybe a week and a half ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, Derek, but
yeah, it was last Monday.
Last Monday, right? Okay, cool. So here's the video for the TikTok. So this is the Plague Doctor build.
Liquid House in the building.
Yeah, Liquid House in the building.
Yo.
And then, so we also have a quick video for the Bullion. Nick, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, please correct me.
Cool, it's cool. Just a thing called Bullion.
So how would you pronounce it? Bullion?
Just Bullion.
Bullion. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
Everybody's doing a great job with it. Dude, I love the gold accents.
Yeah, this is great. So, for the both of you, like, can you give us some insight on how long you guys have been doing this for? Just case modding in general, right? So this is the question for both of you.
It's quite a funny story, really, because me and Derek actually know each other pretty well. Because I've been doing case modding for quite a long time. And then probably about 2 or 3 years ago, I actually decided to make a little magazine. And yeah, Derek was actually a writer in my magazine.
Right on.
Yeah.
which was pretty cool.
Yeah, when I brought you, when we both got into a call, you had mentioned that he was you guys previously worked together, and that was very interesting to me. So, how long have you actually been building PCs, Nick? Or
so for me, I've been building PCs for probably, when I was younger, I started out on an Amstrad, and I was used to play around with that, and I once got into like a bit of trouble because I found like a red switch on the back of it, and I wanted to overclock it, and literally I blew it up because I turned the voltage and I switched it over. And then I basically stopped doing computers for quite a few years, moved in with my partner, and I had like this Golf GTI sitting on my drive, and I said, you know what, I'm going to sell it, and then I want to get back into building computers. And I went back to like a local shop to try and just get some updates on how it was working and stuff like that. And, you know, I just decided that I'm not going to listen to the guy, I'm going to do it myself. And then from there, I never really looked back. I decided to build the first computer, and then Derek, you'll know this, I got the bug for just being addicted to building these computers. And then it started off with just being like, wherever I can see a computer to be built, I just try and get stuck in. And then instead of going down the route of doing like lots of the same computers, I decided I wanted to do like influencers. So I decided at that point to not actually take a fee off people, like not charge people, actually to get companies to see my builds. And then that's how I basically got to doing influencer builds. And then from there, I've just got into the whole gaming industry. And in the UK, I'm in loads of different places at the moment, not just the building side of it. But yeah, I'll let Derek have a say and tell us how he feels.
Cool. So as we have I'm gonna have some photos in the background. So when you guys talk, I'm gonna be throwing up both the Bullion build and the Plague Doctor build. So sorry for interrupting, Derek. Go ahead.
Cool. No, that's okay. Yeah, my story is kind of similar. Like, I'd always built my own computer to game on myself, and I've only been modding since 2019. In 2019, I built my own computer at the start of the year. It's right around the time I remember, like, the 9900K was the king processor, and I built it, and it was fun. And then I wanted to build another one to try the AMD's 3900X. And I built that, and then I started to run out of money to buy my own parts. So I kind of offered a few friends, like, oh, let me build your computer because I want to check out some more parts. And one of them got sacked to me from a friend, and I did it wrong. And something on it broke. So long story short, I thought, oh, I should do something special for this guy because I broke his computer. So I painted it. And And then I learned that modding was a thing, and lots of people paint their computers and do crazy stuff. So it's been very much an evolving hobby, and it really kind of led me down the path of offering themed builds and trying to see what people want that I can take on, like the Plague Doctor.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a Plague Doctor was, but I had a client ask me for the Plague Doctor theme. So then it's like, okay, let me wrap my head around what a Plague Doctor is and how to mod it and what I can do with that. And that's kind of how I have grown in the hobby. You know, I started small, and then every project, it's like, okay, well,
How do you think bigger?
last project I used vinyl, so next project I'll use vinyl and a bit of paint, and then
So the experience
now
just kind of builds up, right?
Yeah, very much so. And I Buy Power and HYTE was a big part of that back in October with the Revolt 3. That was kind of a project, a leap of faith on a project.
That was the
I had to,
Cyberpunk
you know-
build, right? And I think you have the prop with you. I think you showed it to me right before the stream, right? Do you want to toss it up
I
on?
do, yeah. So this is the one panel,
Oh yeah,
From
there. That's
the-
awesome.
the Revolt 3.
Oh, nice.
There was a screen in here, but I took it out. But I still have the gun and stuff on display on my. I have a shelf in my garage.
Right. So I guess like 2019 is pretty recent, right? So you're relatively new. And I think Nick was giving you some guidance when you were first starting, right, Nick? I think you had mentioned that before, right?
Oh,
But-
huge, yeah.
Yeah. So just talking, or I guess like when you guys are developing these case mods, like I was wondering if there's like a different approach that every person had. So like
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
right,
Like,
so-
do you guys have the idea before you see a case, and then you look for the case that will facilitate, or do you see the case and you're like, I know what I'm gonna put in there?
This is such a funny question, because I hear this question all the time, and what happens is when it's in a show or something, people come up to it and they go, "How do you plan to get all that in there like that?" And I can tell you right now, it's like, yeah,
You just
see how it
go
works
with the
out.
flow while building.
Just try it.
I like
can
it.
tell you now, anyone that plans something straight up to build, and the thing is, most companies will come to you and say, "Can you do a render of a case?" And the first thing you have to say to them is, "I can do you a render, but don't expect it to look like that once I've finished it. You're just
Right,
gonna have to
right.
trust me that it's gonna look good." And I think that's where you get creative. Is like Derek was showing me just now a few parts that he's doing, and how many times that you have to redo and rechange that part
Yeah.
to make it be what you really want it to be. And I think every build I've ever done, I have a plan in my head of what I want it to look like, and then at the end it's just totally different. But it looks better than the plan you had in your head, you know?
Yeah.
How's it for you, Derek? Like, you do the same thing, or?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's funny, when we were kind of setting up our mic and camera before the stream, I showed Nick. I can't share it yet, but I got like 9 cuts of the same thing I'm trying to make, and I finally got one of them to be good today.
Oh, that seems that's very meticulous. Like
I like it.
So is it just because like the tolerances are have to be very specific, or?
Well, this particular one is using a CNC, and I was trying to use a pretty thick aluminum, and I switched to a wood, and then the wood was too soft, and I switched to a hardwood.
I
And the
see.
hardwood's working out, but it's kind of when you're given a project, it's kind of a mashup of the idea and the case. Sometimes you have the idea first, and sometimes you have the case first. So for like this one, this guy came to me and said he wanted a Plague Doctor themed computer, and he showed me his gaming room and stuff. And this was back in February.
Yep.
And I knew the Y60 was on the horizon, so I said, "Can we please pre-order and wait for the case to come out?" And you know, he was a client that wanted to build, but he was cool enough to wait, hang on for the pre-order
Nice.
to go through and the case to get here
Yeah.
to like the North Pole where I live. So then when it came in, it was like finally this awesome case, because I'd wanted the 45-degree panel.
Mhm.
I was hoping to have that done, and I thought just the amount of glass on the case would work well for the kind of green, kind of chemically vibes. But other times you're kind of given the case first, and then an idea comes like afterwards. So for the Revolt 3, it was, you want something done with the Revolt 3, these are your themes, pick one.
Mhm.
And like Nick said about the render, I don't know if anybody out there has seen it, but my sketches are terrible. It's like I draw them with a crayon at my kitchen table, I swear. But I you know, it, you kind of think of it and it comes to life afterwards. But there's another modder who said to me once that everybody does have their own style.
Yeah.
Whether you know it or not, what I build will have my style.
So I guess like have you kind of already defined what your personal twist is for these mods? And I'm gonna throw up the Plague Doctor build. So we can also just do a run through of exactly what we're seeing on screen here. So this is the water block on the GPU and the CPU, right? So I'm just gonna be scrolling through the pictures, Derek, and if you just want to explain like what your thought process is, because I see that Plague Doctor mask in that corner. It's kind of in the middle right of the screen, and that's very intriguing. So if you want to just go into depth with like how you thought that and how it came to fruition.
Well, you know, it kind of comes back to what Nick's saying about planning being a bit of a farce. So that's a fan shroud that I printed to go over a fan.
Oh.
And it was actually supposed to be to the left of the CPU block. But when it all got fit together, I didn't like it there. It stuck out over the CPU a little bit. So by putting it over the other fan on top of the like the FLT80, the reservoir,
Yeah.
I thought, man, that looks way cooler. Okay, I'm gonna put it there. You know, you take these things and you just kind of throw them at the case, and however they fit, your style will kind of tell you where to put them as you go.
Yeah. It sounds like trial and error is an important part of the process.
Definitely. I think so. For
Right
me.
So I guess my question is how long did it take you to actually create this? Because I know this was originally a white Y60, right? And you had completely.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess step by step, could you like give us some insight on how you thought it through, and then like was it painting first and then components, selecting components, just a slight rundown of everything and how it happened.
Yeah, no problem. So I had the components kind of ordered before the case, but I knew that we were using that case, so I knew what my clearances were going to be. So that all came in. The cables I ordered at the same time as the parts with the theme. So my cables I get done by GS Customs in Canada. He's an excellent dude. He's on Instagram. He's not on anything else. You just have to talk to him on Instagram. So I told him we're doing a Plague Doctor, a lot of green, this case, these parts, and he sorted that out. And then they came in with the parts. When I got the case, the first thing to do is like I took it all apart. So a good fact about the case is it's very sturdy and it has 2 sets of rivets, which was extra difficult to take apart.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of
along
rivets.
that top runner, it had rivets going on the bottom and on the top. So take those all out, and then I had the 2 runners, the 2 white runners on the top and the bottom. So I painted the one black and green, but I painted the bottom one using black gesso. I'm not sure what it's called. GESSO. It's for canvassing material, but you'd have to touch it. It gave it a cool kind of gave it a cool texture, which is what I wanted. Because I kind of like things to be a little messy. Like I like texture when you're touching something. So, you know, I used the gesso or gesso on the bottom to give it that kind of a rough look.
Yeah, I think this is a picture of it right here.
I also made the aluminum piece instead of the 45-degree window.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, okay, this looks not bad, so that was all painted, got it back together, and then parts came after that, and then water cooling after that. And the final parts were the vinyl. I usually save vinyl for the end because you don't have to do it before any of the other steps.
Right, yeah. Cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the aesthetic of the build.
Definitely.
I'm a fan of green, and I think you saw my Reddit post, Reddit comment rather. I just love Plague Doctors in any game. So this build was definitely a hit for me. But Nick, if you can go over some of the photos that we have on your build and like explain how like your thought process and how it began from
go for it.
start to end.
If there's any questions anyone's got about it, feel free to ask.
Oh yeah. So this is also a white Y60 build, and
Yep.
did you pick your components first before you started planning everything out, or did you come up with a concept?
So for my build, it was a bit of a different story for me. So I was hit up by your European guy, Fons, and basically he said that there's this case. Maybe we could do like a collaboration. Because I don't believe the case is it out here over in the UK yet? I don't think it's out here yet, is it?
I do not believe so. It will be soon, very soon.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people asking because I was at a show we do over here called Insomnia Gaming Festival where it was actually on. And what actually happened was when we connected, basically I said like, look, I'm going to do a sponsored build. If you've got a case available and you can get one to me, I can do it for the show. So I was on a very small like timescale. I think I only had a week and a half to get the parts all sent out and to get it built. And the difference with me is to most builders is I'll always build my computer in just one solid day. So I'll do all the prep work before, but when it comes to actually building the computer, I'll just take the whole day, and I want it done by the end of that day. So
I like that.
yeah, so basically what happened is I only had a week and a half, and it was sponsored by quite a few companies. So once they got all the parts to me, which was a mad rush, because I did want to actually have gold pipes in there as well. But I couldn't get hold of them, and I couldn't get them shipped to the UK in time. So it was like, what do I do? Should I try and go with like soft piping? Should I do the hard piping? And what I like to do in my builds is I like to try and show that there's some skill there.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people have come up to me and said, why don't you do curly pipes? And why don't you do this? And I find with the curly pipes, lots of people are trying to do curly pipes at the moment. And it's actually quite an easier process to do.
Oh.
And if you notice in my build from the front, you'll see that all the bends, they're all handmade, but they're all perfectly in sync with each other. And Derek, you'll understand how hard that is to get them all lined up in 3 dimensions to be able to see. So if you look from the right-hand side of the computer, you'll see that they both line up perfectly. And the bottom one is the same bend as well, going down the front. And that's actually pretty hard to try and achieve. So to a builder, to all the other builders that I know, which is quite a lot, they can see that there's a skill level there. I haven't just tried to do it by default. Sometimes you'll see a lot of people do like straight cut pipes, and then they'll have a lot of fittings on the ends. And again, it's a lot easier to do that because you're just cutting straight pipes and you're putting a lot of fittings on. So I always try and do something that like pushes the boundaries or does something like a little bit different. And I think the main thing in this case that I wanted to do was the bottom. You'll notice that the bottom's actually like, it looks like a piece of gold, like it's solid gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And the thing is, I'll be honest, the PC in real life looks so much brighter and more colorful and realistic than it does in the photos and the video. I've actually got it live. I can put the live feed on here so you can see the actual colors
Absolutely.
on it.
Let's do
I'll
it.
change my camera quickly. And hopefully you'll be able to see what I mean. I've got a little camera sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
So
There you go.
I'm using this PC right now. This is like the PC I'm using at my house. Like Derek said, what you do is you build a new computer and then you use it for a little while. So as you can see, like
Yeah,
down
the gold
at the front,
pops.
it looks like it's a solid piece of gold down there.
How long did that take to? I don't know the process of it, but was it painted or was it?
But this is the funny thing. People say to me, how did you get, because the actual fittings are actually gold plated, but the rest of it is actually vinyl, like Derek said. And I'll turn that back off so you can show your end if you wanted to. So basically, that's a piece of vinyl at the bottom, and it took me 8 hours to cut all them little strips out in a row.
Jeez.
And I done it live on stream. So like I'm trying to cut all these perfect little lines, and I'm right near the end. It's been like 7.5 hours, and I'm thinking, please don't rip one of them now because I have to start all again. And you know what? It came out really, really well. I didn't expect it to come out as because of in the case you've got like that slight like beveled edge as at the bottom of the glass.
Yeah.
Basically, that makes it look like a gold bar. How a gold bar would be if it was a real gold bar there.
Right. Yeah. That's the slant.
So that came out really well. That's my favorite part of it. And then I just wanted to do gold plating on the rest of it. Looking back now, I don't think I think it would look better with the white pipes more than having gold pipes as well. I think it'd have been too much gold in there if I had like everything gold. It'd be a bit too blingy.
Yeah.
It's quite fancy already. So, but yeah, it looks absolutely gorgeous. But I don't think you can have too much gold. But it's definitely a good mix, a good mix of what you have so far, right? So, just moving on to the next question, I would like to get some like tips and tricks for like beginners. I was talking to John like right before the stream started, and I believe we're both complete noobs. Like if you had
novices with like hardline and softline building for sure.
Right. Yeah. So just looking at these and like how crazy the tubing is, and just how much you kind of just redid the case, right? The both of you, right? The aluminum corner panel, and then all the tubing in the case. It's very intimidating. But if you can give some like maybe your top 3 tips for someone looking into becoming like a beginner case modder, that would be great, because like
do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first, Derek?
You go ahead.
Oh yeah, you sure?
Yeah, you got more years at it than me.
So for me, my tip would be don't run before you can walk, basically. So I would say the transition when you're building your PC, the first thing would be to do before you go for all-in-one water cooler, go with a heatsink, then transition to like a radiator all-in-one, then transition to soft tubing. Don't try and go straight into hard tubing, because it's just going to end in tears, that is. And then get used to the soft tubing. Now, when you're using soft tubing, because you've got like a barb, you're never going to get a leak, really. It's going to be very hard to get a leak unless you do something seriously wrong. And then once you've got used to how all the pump res, how everything works, basically then move on to hard tubing. Don't try and just do one before the other. Because I see a lot of people do that and they get issues, and then they break something and it puts them off for life.
Right. So there is like a step-by-step process and like a leveling up.
Progression.
Progression. Yeah. So that's actually kind of interesting, because I thought maybe the hard tubing would be a little bit more easy just because it's already kind of laid out for you. But
no, the angles and the measurements can be a nightmare. I've seen people mess with that.
Okay. So like, do you have to like apply heat or something to the hard tubing to get them to form the right way? Like I'm kind of
for custom bends, yeah.
For custom bends. Okay. So I can see.
Our stream's a little bit delayed, but I'm trying to see his face next to you as you're saying that.
Yeah. So if you have any more tips, I guess like I kind of interrupted you there, but so it is a step-by-step, like it is a progression, but
you can go straight into it, but there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of different ways to do pipe bending. Basically, because obviously you've got to heat the pipe up, and you've got to keep the tubing a certain distance from the heat gun, and obviously the heat gun is very, very hot. So if you put your arm over that, it's literally going to burn the skin off your arm. So you've got to keep it perfect distance, keep it spinning, and like you'll see on the pipes on mine, when you come to do like really like intricate bends, it's like you can imagine when the pipe's straight, you can literally just turn it and go backwards and forwards. But when you've got a curve like that already, like an S bend, and then you've got to heat it up, you've got to sort of turn it like this over a heat gun, and that's where it gets really hard. You can't go too near the end of the pipe because the end will squish up and it will lose its shape. And it does get tricky the further you go along, and the more like no lie, to get them pipes all in that sort of being parallel like that is a really hard trick. And until you've actually tried it, I've done like a live show where people come up and they try and bend the pipes, and we give them a little tutorial, and it is pretty hard. Like, you need to have some practice. And like I'd say, if you're gonna go for hard pipes like this, in there you've got 6 pipes. Buy 30 pipes if it's your first go.
I like
you're
that.
Just gonna keep chucking them in the bin.
You're just gonna be you're just gonna be chewing through them, like practicing all the bends and everything, right? So awesome, cool. So Derek, what are your top 3 like tips that you would give to like a beginner case modder? Like seeing that you started back in 2019, like what have you seen, like, and what have you learned so far?
So for water cooling and modding, water cooling, I very much agree with Nick's advice, and to go slow. So I don't know if you can pull it up, but on the two
Yep.
pipes that I have going to the CPU,
Yep.
I tried to make them, like he said, look like I did a freehand bend and try to make them look like they're the same bend on two pipes. I made that front pipe like 8 times. It's not it's not magic that just boom and it's perfect. I had to bend it, and then you cut a millimeter off, and then now I've cut it too short, make a new one. You know, I had to do that a lot.
Right.
And play with the fittings too to make that work. But I like the phrase "walk before you run" because I'm doing well now with case modding. But actually, if we jump back to well, it would have been 2020. The Cooler Master World Series was coming out, and when I just started case modding, or even learning about case modding, I learned about the Cooler Master World Series. So I had this big plan. I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's a panel on my shelf there from the computer I was theming after Revan, which is a Star Wars character.
Right.
Revan was going to have water cooling, painting, and vinyl, and then that was going to be my big Cooler Master Case Mod World Series submission. I didn't realize the caliber of case modders that entered that competition at that stage. But before that, I took on 3 client builds. One of them was going to be water cooled, one of them I was going to paint, and one of them I was going to add vinyl so that I could practice all 3 things before putting it together in one project. And then it kind of ballooned into many more projects, but that is kind of how I started, is like, okay, on this one, I'm just going to, you know, paint the power supply shroud.
Right.
And that's that.
And I actually quite like that. You start honing your skills in one aspect.
Like an individual component.
Right, yeah.
I like that.
And then, so you go from vinyls to tubing, and then eventually you learn another skill, right? And then it's an amalgamation of everything that you've learned so far, right? And then you build something beautiful, like both of you have done, right? So I love the fact that in this hobby, as long as you're trying to do something and you have something in your head already, like you have something planned out, you just need to act on it, right? And keep practicing. That's what I'm getting so far, right? And if you are like a budding case modder, what are some words of advice, or I guess, yeah. So would you how would you encourage new budding case modders for I guess let's have Nick start. So some encouraging words of advice.
The one thing I will say straight away is don't listen to the naysayers.
Right, yeah.
You know, you always get these people, and it doesn't matter where you go, every builder will encounter these people. Whether you're new, old, you're experienced, you know, they will come out of the woodwork and they'll be like, you done that bit wrong, or you done that. Like, I put my thermal paste on and I put it on with a flathead screwdriver, and that's the way I've always done it. I'll spread it within a couple of mil from the edge. Always works for me. But I tell you what, if I put that out, people will be like, oh, you can't do it like that.
I mean, that's just with like almost every hobby. There's this self-appointed group of gatekeepers that just like, they think that they're the authority, but like they don't put anything out. They're not modding and then letting people see what they do. They just like having their opinion.
It's almost like I was saying to Derek before we went live, like there's so many people out there. There could be 1 million people watching, but the people that mainly comment are the people that have got something bad to say about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And what I would say is, if you've got an idea that you want to try, do not listen to all of the forums, to all of the experts that are out there that are not really experts. Do what you want to do, and if it's outside the box or it's something that's not normally done, just go ahead and do it. It's your parts. If they get damaged or broken, it's on you. You know, if it works out, you've come up with something new, and that's what sets you aside. I think, because what a lot of builders will do is they'll follow the same path as everybody else because it's been done and, you know, it's safe.
Right.
But do you know what? Just create your own path and just do what you want to do.
Yeah. So that's how I believe you would create your own like personalized touch for every case mod that you do, right? So as you go on, people would see like, oh, this is definitely RhoadsPC's build, or this is definitely ExtremePCUK's build, right? Because you have these specific
personal touches
that you have for each case, right? So
it's quite funny. Sorry to cut you off. It's
yeah.
quite funny, but you see the screens that I've got in my one?
Yes.
When I started building, we designed them screens and 3D printed the surrounds. It was before anybody had screens. And then whenever I went to a show or I put a computer in a show, I'd get messages from people saying, have you got a computer on the Acer stand here, or you got a computer there? And I'd be like, yeah, why? How'd you know? And they say, oh, we saw the screen you put in there. And they just know that it was one of ours. But now they're everywhere. Like,
right, yeah.
Copycat league.
Right. All right. So, Derek, do you have any encouraging words that you want to give for some budding case modders in chat?
I like the what Nick said about doing your own thing and not trying to follow everyone else.
Saying nay to the naysayers.
Yeah. Actually, right before coming on this stream, I got a comment on the Plague Doctor that somebody didn't like how I used soft tubing and hard tubing together. And I just liked the comment. That's fine. You don't have to like everything.
That's the best way to handle it, yeah.
When I first started, I did a computer just for myself that was Terminator themed.
Oh.
It's because I'm a big fan of the Terminator and Arnold. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And Nick featured it as a community build on his magazine. That was the first time we met. And up until I had been featured by Nick, I didn't even really know that what I was doing was like was worth much salt. You know, I just was bored.
Right on.
So every time I get caught up trying to think I need to do better, I need to do this different, you can kind of go back to that mindset of just not even comparing to anything and just doing what you're having fun doing. And you turn out something unique, and you kind of have, you know, you enjoy yourself more, because it is a time-consuming hobby, but it's totally something that's worth it. And just don't compare yourself to anybody, because nobody's comparing themselves to you the way you think they are.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Most people are just doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's a really supportive community. Like being here right now is you guys supporting us. It's a supportive community.
Right, yeah. And I'm not sure if Liquid House is still in chat, but shout out to Liquid House.
Yeah, they put together a rad build too.
Yeah, so, but the three of you have been amazing so far. And it would be amazing to like keep working with you and have you appearing on shows together. And this is splendid. Having you guys on show, just showcasing these for the community, right? And we definitely want to highlight other builds from the community as well. And that kind of segues into the next segment. We do have, Liquid House is in chat. So he says, community is the best around here. Much love to everyone here. And this is great stuff.
Powerful.
So, Nick and Derek, I have some photos of people that have been posting for HYTE Setup, our campaign for just showing off your battle stations, setups, whatever you want to call it. And I believe someone in chat, Chameleon, from our Discord, is in here, and he's actually featured in this segment here. So I'm gonna throw up some images on screen here. So Chameleon, if you are in chat, this is a big shout out to you.
Right on.
We saw this in Discord, and it looks awesome. Love it. And like, if you want to like come on stream sometime and talk about it, like that'd be great, because we can see this is this a
kind of like Mr. Beast colors?
Right. Yeah. So if you guys want to comment on it, that'd be great. But we also have his full setup here too. So this is what it looks like in his setup, right?
I really like that. It's
very clean.
Good looking room.
Yeah. So shout out to Chameleon. We also have there he is. They're in chat.
What up, Chameleon?
Thank you so much for posting this for HYTE Setup, Chameleon. So we are running this campaign.
It was slightly delayed for us, so we were just waiting for it to come on. But yeah, it looks very clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can plan something out.
With dual loops in there as well.
Yeah. So yeah, we can plan something out. It'd be very great to like do weekly community spotlights and everything, right?
Yeah.
And it's fantastic to see all these builds pop up for our campaign, and we are supporting it by selecting a winner each week. So if you go to Twitter or any of our socials like Instagram, on Discord as well, and use hashtag HYTE tag a friend, you have the possibility of winning either an HG10 or a Y60. And the prizes will change week by week, and then we will be announcing the winners. But if you are watching and you haven't built a Y60, feel free to participate as well. This isn't restricted to just Y60 builds, and we really want to see what you guys have for us. We also have Clouded Chaos. I recently helped him get this PC to him, and as a thank you, I was asking for a photo of the finished build. And shout out to Clouded Chaos. I'm not sure if you're in the chat, but thank you so much for taking my request very seriously, and I appreciate that you sent me the pictures. We love it. And finally, we have Tech Toro from
with
Discord.
the SL fans.
Yeah,
I love those SLs.
This is RGB to the max.
The unis, no, that's tasteful RGB.
Yes.
You know, it's not blown out by the fan. Those uni fans, I love them.
But yeah, what do you both Nick and Derek, like? Do you love this? This is something that we should keep continuing as for the lifetime of
I think
HYTE,
this
right?
is a really good idea. Personally, for me, I love to see other people's builds, just to see the way that they built it, the route they went down. And I was going to say, with this case as well, there's just so much. If you are new to modding and you want to get involved, this case really does give you that opportunity, because there's so many compartments in it to hide stuff, to mount stuff. It just makes it unbelievably easy to actually make things happen in that case. Like you saw on that last build, it had dual loops in it and stuff. And that's purely because there's so much space in there that you can fit all of this stuff in. And Derek he'll vouch for this as well. There's nothing worse than getting a case, having a plan, and then when you put the motherboard in it and say just the GPU, you're like, actually, I can't even get these bends in here on the pipes because it's too small in here. And it happens with a lot of cases, a lot of bigger cases with smaller compartments.
Right.
But it's just so much space in there. If you want to be creative, it really gives you that like advantage.
Well, I guess my question now is, since the Y60 is strictly vertical mounted graphics, did that play into like how much space you actually have to like be creative, or to have that creative freedom to have all these tubings, right? So how does vertical mounted graphics compare to traditional mounting in PC building or case modding?
Do you want to go first, Derek, or shall I?
Yeah, it does change things. It's nice to have the option, and it worked really well on the Y60 because it's such a nice display. I was fortunate to have the XFX card with the water block on it, and I was happy with the tubing I did on it. And if you were to do a horizontal mount, there's quite a lot of room under it. And I think so one of my favorite features on the case, that cold floor, you guys call it, the two fans at the bottom with a full floor, so that you don't have to always just see the fans. And I thought that was really nice with the horizontal or vertical mounted graphics card, because it let airflow go across the back of the card and the front of the card and still reach your motherboard. Whereas if it was a horizontal graphics card, you kind of be limited on airflow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh. Yep. Wait, Nick. Wait, are you finished, Derek?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought you cut out. I thought you got cut out.
I didn't know if the sound, something happened to the sound.
Right, me too. But Nick, if you want to chime in on that, like how was the experience of vertical graphics versus horizontal graphics?
For me, I really like. I'm just going to change my camera quickly again. So that I can show you, because I don't know if the pictures actually show what I actually did from behind. So if you see, I might have to lean over here for a second. So from behind, where the vertical mount is on mine, can you see there?
Yep, crystal clear.
Yeah. So I actually really like the fact that where the vertical mount is, the way you've built that like shroud over it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this down here because I'm probably too far away from my mic, but I just wanted to show everybody the back of it there first. So yeah, I really like, it's the first case I've seen where it's actually got its own, I'd call it like a piece of artwork on that cable. So it's all covered. It all looks really nice. And I'd say with like Derek said, with the cold floor, there's so much space in there. Like as a modder, I just think that it's endless limits to. If I wanted to put the card the normal way,
Yeah.
then I would just mount it the normal way in there, even though it doesn't fit. The case doesn't say that it can. Obviously, we're modders, we'd be able to do it. But I personally think there wouldn't be any point because it looks so good vertical. Yeah, I can't fault the way that the card sits like that. It just looks really good. It gives you access. It keeps the cooling down. And like I said, with the floor, you could even hide the card in there if you wanted to. It's so big. I have got a few ideas what I would like to do with it. With the compartments and stuff. Obviously, I can't give anything away. It's like Derek said earlier on.
No leaks here.
We'll be excited to see that, though.
Yeah, super excited to see what you have planned.
Yeah.
But if I think we're running a bit short on time here, but if you guys have any last minute things you want to say to the stream, or if you want to do a quick shout out or a plug, we would like to shout out like your socials, everything that our followers here can follow you on.
Make sure that they can get to you.
So Nick, where can we reach you at? Do you have a Twitter handle, Instagram? Where can we find you?
Do you want me to go first or?
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
So for me, I'm based in the UK. I'm called ExtremePCUK.
Yep.
I do lots of like events. We've got a massive gaming community. I'm addicted to Elite Dangerous, and I run a whole community on Elite Dangerous. And apart from that, yeah, ExtremePCUK. I'm on all social media. Get in touch if anyone wants any help. Advice is always free, and we're always around to get involved in any project.
Powerful.
Awesome. All right, Derek. Where can we find you?
So I'm RhoadsPC on every platform. I'm just a modder in northern Canada. Happy to talk to anybody and go over ideas or talk shop or just case reviews and kind of learn. You kind of learn from each other. So Liquid House and chat, I learned tons from him.
Cool.
And I'd like to do for others as he's done for me when it comes to questions or teaching or asking anything.
Right.
It's always fun to see what you guys have planned. And the Y60 too has a lot of really good features for people. Like it has 2 places to run your cables through, which was an extra, a feature, and an extra. It has those tabs in the back where you zip tie your cables off too. It had an extra row of those to really help people clean up their build. I don't know if anybody might not know that, but if they're looking for a case to keep things clean, you guys really did well by having just what people need to tie off to.
Right. And shout out to our designers there, Rob and Brad, right? They did a splendid job in like making sure that all our bases are covered. The case looks great, and it's also very easy to build in. Right?
Yeah, it's really cool for us to be excited about a product that we're releasing, but then even cooler to see the response from the community and like what they do with that product. So yeah, as more of these builds and mods come out, I'm very excited to see what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I gotta say the number one comment I get about this case has been, does it live up to the hype? Because as soon as it was released, you see it everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And man, it does. It did live up to the hype.
Right
it was
on.
awesome to build in.
It's kind of just carrying itself, right? So good products proliferate on their own, right? And we won't have much to say about the Y60. All you have to do is look right at it, and it's a beaut, right? So in regards to case mods, Liquid House is in chat, and he is creating blogs on our website.
Nice.
Step-by-step tutorials on like how to get started, the tools that you might need. So if you're interested more in a written guide, we do have those on HYTE.com. You can go to our blog space. And in addition to the stream, thank you again, Nick and Derek, for joining us to talk
thank
about
you guys.
case modding.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.
But we're gonna go ahead and talk about a few things to end the stream. But aside from case modding, we also have pre-built Y60s, right? So we are a sub-brand of iBadPower, and you can find pre-built Y60s at select Best Buys in California. There's going to be some in La Puente,
Nice.
close by to where our home base is here in the City of Industry. But we want to issue a challenge to everyone that may be near one of these flagship Best Buys. If you go to a Best Buy and you take a picture with one of the Y60s, you can be entered to win a HG10 or a Y60. More details on this event will appear tomorrow.
So you don't even have to buy the
You don't
Y60
even
at the
have to
Best
buy
Buy.
it.
You just need to get a decent looking picture with you. Okay.
Yeah. So we did I did a couple personal challenges to a couple of our members in Discord. So here's a photo of one of this is actually Tech Toro, and we had his build featured on HYTE Setup just earlier. But yeah, they have cases, not just cases. They're fully built
Computers. Yeah.
So if you go to a Best Buy and you spot one of these on the shelves, tag us on Twitter, take a picture, and you'll be entered to win a Y60 or a HG10. And then also, white Y60s are finally here.
I think I saw a question about that in chat, so
Yeah.
I hope you stuck around.
Yep. So white Y60s, they were on back order until June 30th, but we wanted to get them to you sooner, so we're starting to airship them weekly. We're gonna have about a couple pallets shipped in every week, so we can get that expedited and get all back ordered white Y60s out before June 30th. So if you ordered one from March 15 up to now, we're gonna be working on getting it sent out much sooner than you expected.
Powerful.
So, yeah. And let's go back to Nick and Derek. Sorry if I inserted that at the end, but thank you again for appearing on the show.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So if you have any last minute shout outs to any like case modders you want, anyone you want to shout out.
Anything you want to shout out, shout it out.
Shout it out now.
The only thing I could shout out to is everyone that's ever been in our magazine. Like, yeah.
So I believe Derek is actually one of those people on the magazine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Derek, anyone you want to shout out?
Nick for featuring me.
Powerful.
Awesome. All right.
It's a tight-knit community.
Very tight-knit. And we would really love to have you guys again on show. But,
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out. And thank you for everyone who stuck around and is watching. But
Anytime. Thank you.
all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
You guys take care.
We'll see you next time on Town Hall. This happens every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. PST. So stick around. Catch us next time.
Over?